Hey, 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 what's good, fam? It's Tuesdays with Tawana. Yes, another Tuesday where we gather building a community one episode at a time. So grateful to be here on today. I am, been jet setting this week. So had this broadcast been this morning, I would have been in another state. And now I am in Maryland, back doing my thing, and grateful for traveling mercies. Had to see Eric off this morning, who is headed back to Dubai. And it was bittersweet, but I'm very excited and very happy that he is off to do big things. As many of you know, he got a promotion to dean of students. So just grateful, just absolutely grateful. So let's get it popping. Let's get started. Hey Tony, good to see you. Good morning, Mother Carolyn. Yeah, I had some technical difficulties this morning and said, you know what? It's just going to be what it's going to be. And we going to make this happen. Yeah, we going to make this happen. So on today, we got a lot to talk about today, a lot to reflect on, a lot to discuss. I look forward to seeing you in the comments. For those of you joining for the first time, welcome. I am Dr. Tad, Reverend T, your host and curator for Tuesdays with Tawana, where we gather weekly at 2 o'clock Eastern time every Tuesday, right here on this platform. But you can also catch the replay on YouTube, on Instagram, and all of your podcast platforms. Hey, my beloved friend, how are you doing? Good afternoon, Reverend Foster. Good to see you. So you can catch this later on any of your various podcast platforms. Spread the word, share, like, make it happen, because we are building community. This is not about me talking for the next 30 minutes. This is about us engaging in dialogue and making things happen together, because that's the only way for us to heal. That's the only way for us to grow. That's the only way for us to build. That's the only way for us to share our creative prowess and be co-creators. So we do this hoping that when this 30 minutes is over, you are able to take away something that will add value to you, your beloveds, your beloved community, and we can continue to learn, grow, and build. So, hey, brother, good to see you. So I'm home safely. Didn't even get to text anybody to let y'all know that I made it home safely. So let's get it popping on this afternoon. So one, I am just grateful. I am grateful for this day, grateful for the air that I breathe, grateful for traveling mercies, grateful for what started out to be cloudy skies and drove into the sunshine as I was driving on today. And as you can see, my shirt is nothing but positive energy. We are only positive energy is allowed in my space. That is my boundary. If there is any toxicity, any ill behavior or hate or dislike, I don't have time for it. Life is too short. So nothing but positive energy. It doesn't mean, though, that we can't disagree. It doesn't mean that I may, I'm perfect. It means that I may make a mistake, a misstep, a mishap, or say something that causes harm, and then we have a dialogue so that we can heal together. We talked about this before, how an apology is something you name what it is that was done, and then you commit to that thing not happening again. So an apology is not if I've done something, it's I have caused you harm and I apologize, and this is what I am going to do to remedy that. I am not going to exhibit this type of behavior or say this particular thing, or whatever. So anyway, sidetrack. Black August, always honoring those who have come before us, always honoring those revolutionaries out there who are in the struggle, who are fighting for us, fighting for those who are unjustly incarcerated, fighting for those who are experiencing domestic violence, fighting for those who don't have access to health care, fighting for those who are impoverished and don't have access to the bare necessities of life. We honor those who are now our ancestors. We stand on their shoulders, and we honor those who are fighting the good fight right now. Hey, Mama Levy, good to see you. Yes, we are going to catch up soon for sure. Yes. Tony says to be absent from the drama is to be present with peace. Lovely lations 24/7. Wait, let me post that again. To be absent from the drama is to be present with peace. Tony, whenever I use it, I will give you credit, but I can guarantee you that is going to come up in my conversation with someone at some point in time, because that right there, Larry dropped some jewels last week. Now you dropping some gems. Yeah, we are making it happen for sure. Please send me the shirt. Please send me the shirt. That, that's what I do. I do t-shirts. I preach in t-shirts, teach in t-shirts, because I want folks to know how I show up when I walk into a space with my dark skin, with my locks, with a statement shirt, with something blackety black on, not necessarily the color, but my prowess, my aura, all of that. It's just straight up black and unapologetic and authentic. So what you see is what you get. So Black August, honoring those revolutionaries, continuing to honor those revolutionaries. And, if you take away anything from this moment, liberation it happens in the collective, just like healing happens in the collective, because we come from a culture, it's in our DNA, where I am because you are. If you are hurting, I am hurting. If you're healing, I'm healing. If we're striving to grow and prosper, we're doing that together. So in Black August, when we look back at the unfortunate things that have happened to and with our revolutionaries, whether they were unjustly incarcerated or killed, murdered unjustly by law enforcement, and of course we still see that today. They don't have to be labeled, if you will, as revolutionaries, but just from the mere stance or our presentation of our black skin, they claim that it causes fear, or they're in fear of their life, blah blah blah, whatever the reason is. We still have folks' blood crying from the ground. So we will always continue to call out the Breonna Taylors of the world, the Sandra Blands of the world. We will continue to call out those who were unjustly murdered by the powers that be. So on this Black August, please continue to lift up those in Black August, and every August. Let's make that happen. And now we have a holiday in August 5th. where we will be headed to Montgomery, or doing something to remind us of what community looks like for us. When our people came through, when, white people were attacking one black person, a person doing his job, and we came together in an amazing way, which is an example of what we do every Tuesday here on Tuesdays with Tawana. We try to name and to paint the picture of what community looks like when we are coming together and building community. What do we see in the future? What is that Afrofuturism that we want to see? How do we want to see ourselves in the future? Do we want to continue to see ourselves always fighting for freedom, fighting for liberation, fighting for human rights, fighting for humanity, fighting for honor, fighting for respect, fighting to be seen, fighting to be heard, fighting to have access? So the revolution begins now, and that revolution toward liberation happens in community. So speaking of which, this ish ain't easy, right? I was in Harlem for the celebration of 50 years of hip hop. So the energy was just so beautiful. I didn't make it to 1520 Sedgwick Avenue for the birthplace of hip hop. It was a bit too crowded and too much of a walk for me. So I do still have to listen to my body and take care of myself. But and I missed Madison Square, Yankee Stadium, the concert there. But I was able to hang out in Harlem with my family on Sunday, and it was an amazing time. And I would hope that we can think back, because there are more celebrations to come. There are shows on Netflix, Ladies First. That's a must-see. There is another hip-hop documentary that's out. And one of my beloveds, the brilliant and amazing Reverend Dr. Will Gaffney, said that she watched... I can't think of the other name of the hip hop show that really features a lot of men, but she watched that show and Ladies First, and it just told a powerful story of the misogynoir, of the disrespect that women that happen to women when we embrace our sexuality and who we are, and we take control of our bodies and how we present ourselves. It's okay for men to objectify us, but they can no longer objectify us when we own our bodies and how we present ourselves, and we, have our own sexual prowess and sexuality and sensuality and humanity and divinity and all of that, and folk are getting mad about it. So watching those two documentaries during this monumental time, I had a chance to listen to KRS-One, who is still one of the greatest of all time. He spit knowledge like none other. And what was sad was there was a few young people around us. They were talking and laughing, and they were kind of like, what the F he talking about, and he was dropping knowledge. He talked about our culture not being for sale. And he talked about how we, this is ours. Hip hop is a culture. Rap is what we do. Hip hop is how we show up and how we live. And it is a part of our culture. And how it's always being stripped away and co-opted by even a Walmart commercial I saw the other day. I couldn't believe it. I can't think of the song right now, but I was like, whoa, they are really going in and just taking what's ours. And, I hope that we're getting credit for it. I hope that folk are getting paid for their beats. And, I hope that's the case. But anyway, I digress. KRS-One was amazing, just dropping knowledge. So much love to KRS-One and the lifelong work that he has been doing to build community and to bring us to a space of freedom and liberation. So I hope that one day that you will look back and ask yourself, what were you doing when hip hop turned 50? When I first heard, hip hop, it was the Sugar Hill Gang. That was the first hip hop, official hip hop, because our culture, we had folk who were doing spoken word and poetry and comedians who were rhyming, and it morphed into this culture. And at the same time, we experienced the uprising of the crack epidemic and gang violence, and it was a horrible time, and it was a beautiful time because we were getting recognition for our talents and for our divine creative prowess, and we were being played on the radio, and we were able to buy songs and or tape, put in the cassette tape and record Mr. Magic and, what's his name that drops the bombs, and, you were recorded and then you would try to stop it just in time before a commercial came on. So what were you doing when hip hop turned 50? Because who would have thought that we, with those songs and on Sedgwick Avenue in the Bronx, that we would introduce our culture to a worldwide phenomenon, right? So unfortunately, we still have work to do because this ish ain't easy. We still have work to do with misogynoir, which is a disdain for black women, not just misogyny, which is a disdain for women in general, but misogynoir. Watch Ladies First. It tells the story of the struggle and how our struggle was different from the struggle of, beloveds, brothers who were rhyming. Now, let me say this. One of the things that's not easy that kind of ties into this, we're in a space where people are learning how to show up in their authentic selves. So whether you identify as man, woman, transgender, well, let me just name the LGBTQIA plus community, how you identify. Your pronouns are she, he, they, them. We are now learning how to show up and give language to how we show up in this world. And it's sometimes very challenging. It's not easy to listen to the music of old because we did not have that prowess. We didn't have that expansion of our minds because same gender loving people, transgender people, drag, they have existed. Our beautiful beloveds have existed for a very long time, and it was nothing new. And you hear a lot of that disdain in the music, whether it's men, rhyming, and they'll say something negative about, Biggie says it like 2 private parts with no chick. I try to keep this clean because I post it on YouTube and I don't want to go through the whole explicit thing, but 2 D's with no chick. So and making it negative, right? So we now have this language where we can embrace and just love folk. It's not for me to agree or disagree. It's whether I like it or dislike it, or if that's my lifestyle or not. We have an opportunity to build community through love, because our beloveds are still human beings who are in the struggle and living this life like everybody else. LGBTQ, especially trans folk, are being murdered at just disturbing numbers. We know that O'Shea was killed because he was dancing at a gas station to Beyonce, and he identified as gay, and he was murdered because of his sexual orientation and his lifestyle and his identity. It's horrible. And our language, we have an opportunity to continue to change our language. So when one does not understand, the concept of how do I identify with you? Because if someone looked at me, someone would probably just assume that, they can call me she or ma'am or Mrs. And without asking me and honoring me, what is your name? And you may not, have to say like, what are your pronouns? But there are times and spaces when that question is valid. How do you identify? How do you want me to honor you? How do you want me to see you? What is respectful for you? Because I want the same respect for myself. So although I'm heterosexual, cisgendered, it doesn't mean that I have to introduce myself that way. But at the same time, if the climate and the moment calls for it, I need to let you know who I am. And that's not only with, the LGBTQ plus IA community, with femmes, with women, with Black women. It's all encompassing, because when we show up, it's important that we know who we are, and we don't have time for the negative energy and the degradation and the dehumanization of who I am because of the way I was born. I just wrote a piece for anyway, I don't want to go there, but I just wrote a piece and I talked about how, I grew up in Wagner projects. I grew up in Harlem. I grew up when, prostitution, the crack and heroin epidemic, when gang violence was sitting outside, of my building, and all of a sudden somebody comes by and they just start shooting at somebody, and somebody being killed right in the elevator next to me when I'm going upstairs, and I guess the elevator was going down, and a beloved was killed. So, and all of that, but it's still, it's a part of who I am, but it does not define who I am, because I'm so much beyond my experience and my circumstance. I am first and foremost a human being, a child of God, a divine human being that is called to be respected, to be honored, to be revered, to be seen, to be heard. So when we have all of these ills, when you take away my rights to my body, when you take away access to healing and health and wholeness, when you take away my humanity because of the color of my skin, all of those things are problematic, and which is why it's so important for us to come together and fight for community, so that we can fight against these ills together. Like the river walk, on the pier, when we came together and we were able to fight and protect what could have been a very different outcome for this young man. Because when you put drunk folk and drunk white folk who may have been at Trump's rally the day before or a couple of days before, they get a little brazen, and they think that they can just do these things to us as if we're not, human beings. And even if we were not, you don't have a right to harm animals, to harm the environment, to harm human beings. The list goes on and on and on. But it's not easy, beloveds. If anything, I leave you today with some grace and some permission, creating a space to learn, creating a space to be curious, creating a space to ask the question. You don't have to like it. You don't have to be, if that's not your crowd, that's not your crowd. It doesn't mean that you have to impart negative epithets about a particular person or a particular group. Just don't rock with them. It's okay. We could still be in community and not rock with each other and go to dinner and have a drink and go to the same club or whatever. We can still build community, and it is so important that you call me by my name. You honor who I am when I show up in this world. And we need to call that into the hip hop community, because the hip hop community has degraded women for 50 years now. For 50 years. And now women are starting to top the charts and, to speak about demanding, my body, my choice, and the music is becoming political and fun and racy and truthful. And, unfortunately, some men, rappers, are not feeling it. They're like, why this woman has to be so, they hypersexualize them, right? But yet you were degrading and demeaning me all this time, and I can name examples, but it's not even worth it. So we have an opportunity to blend those different cultures and to honor and to see each other, so that we can set the example and we can teach people how we want to be treated. If we're treating each other like this, then we're never going to get through this revolution. We're never going to see liberation, because if we can't honor and fight for each other and stick together and respect and see one another for who we are, how we were born, and how we show up in this world, how can we expect white supremacy and racism and all of that to be obliterated, so that they will see us as human beings, as contributors who built this country, with blood, sweat, and tears. So we have an opportunity. It's not easy. It's not easy. We can still celebrate 50 years of hip hop and call in the shenanigans that has happened in disrespecting women and the misogynoir. We can still honor those during Black August and beyond, because as we say, Black history, blackness is 365, 24/7. It's all a both and. Let us not get caught up into the either or, which is very white supremacist thought. It's white power. It means that my way or the highway. Let us not get stuck in that, but let us be free. Free to honor, free to respect, free to understand, free to ask questions, free to change our language, because our words are powerful. Our words shift the atmosphere. Our words create spaces of healing. It is our words that can impart life. It is our words that can speak death. So let us choose life. Let us choose liberation. Let us speak life. Let us speak liberation. Let us embody positive energy. Let us agree to disagree. Let us know who we are, so we can teach others how to treat us as the divine beings that we are. So I hope that you will continue to celebrate 50 years of hip hop, because that is ours. That is our culture. That is who we are. It's in our music, is in our DNA, and we created an entire culture beginning with rap music. It's so much more. It's the way we dress. It's the way we talk. It's the way we wear our hair. It's the way we dance. It's the way we engage with others. So I hope that you will remember where you were and what you were doing, and what did you do to help add value to our hip hop culture. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy hearing the the cries from our beloveds who have died unjustly and their blood is still crying from the ground. It's not easy, but if we do it together, like I say, healing ain't easy, but I'm able to do what I do because of you, because of community, because healing and liberation and honor and humanity and respect and love and grace and mercy and compassion and protection and covering and love all happens in community. We can't do this by ourselves. We will not survive. We need each other. We are a part of this ecosystem that needs each other. So I leave you today with a moment to reflect, a moment to embrace. This is not about your, religious beliefs and whether you agree or disagree. It is about honoring another human being and speaking life onto, into, around that human being, and being able to build community. One loving, graceful, forgiving, beautiful, divine moment at a time. I love y'all. Continue to celebrate, continue to party, continue to have a good time with hip hop turning 50 years old. Please continue to keep one another lifted in love and light and prayer and positive energy so that we can do the things that we are called to do, to live and not die to the systemic ills. My beloved, you are more than welcome. It is my honor. It is just such a divine honor for me to have this platform to speak to my Black beloveds, and so that it spreads beyond, right? But it starts with us. It started with us, humanity, and now we are centering us to be able to build community and to show this world how we are supposed to respond to one another, to be community, to be beloved community. I love y'all. I love y'all. And I'm out. Peace.